A court ruling or one state deadline can change your carry routine faster than most people can reload a magazine. And if you miss the wrong update, you might break the law without ever meaning to. Quick question before we continue. Are you subscribed? Because what I'm about to reveal could save you from years of legal trouble and a life-changing mistake. Hit that button now. Today we're talking about 10 gun law changes taking effect soon, or already rolling out right now. That could affect permit holders. And I need to be clear from the start, this is not just about getting a permit. It's about where you can carry, how you renew, what training counts, what happens when you travel, and even what you must do if a gun goes missing. Most people think, I have my permit, so I'm covered. But that is not how this works anymore. In a lot of places, the permit is only step one. The rules wrapped around that permit are changing fast. So let me break this down for you in plain English. First, California permit holders just got hit with a huge warning sign. After a court fight, more sensitive places rules are now enforceable. Here's what that means in real life. If you have a California carry permit, you now have more places where carrying can get you in trouble, even if you are otherwise legal. We're talking about bars, restaurants that serve alcohol, playgrounds, and youth centers, parks, athletic facilities, casinos, stadiums, public libraries, amusement parks, zoos, and museums, and certain state park and wildlife lands. Think about how easy it is to mess that up. Imagine you stop for lunch after the range, and the place serves alcohol. You never drink. You never unholster. You think you're being careful. But the location itself can still be the problem. Here's the part nobody's talking about. Some parts of California's carry restrictions are still tied up in court, so people hear half the story and assume the whole law is blocked. It is not. That is how good people walk into bad charges. Second, Maryland is showing the same pattern in a different way. Maryland's official wear and carry page says a federal appeals court upheld a long list of sensitive place restrictions in early 2026. So if you carry there or travel there, you need to think way past your permit card. The state lists government buildings, mass transit facilities, schools, state parks and museums, healthcare facilities, stadiums, racetracks, amusement parks, casinos, and places selling alcohol, and even areas within 1,000 feet of a public demonstration. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Most people think the danger is inside the courthouse or inside the school, but distance rules and location rules can catch you before you ever walk through the front door. Have you ever wondered why some permit holders get jammed up even when they swear they were just passing through? This is why. The map matters. The sidewalk matters. The event nearby matters. Third, Colorado changed the permit process in a way that catches people who use old habits. Starting with applications submitted on or after July 1st, 2025, concealed handgun training has to meet tighter rules. No more assuming that any old certificate will do. The training has to be in person. It has to come from a verified instructor. And the class has to include a written exam and a live fire exercise. Let me say that again, because this is the kind of thing people miss. If your class was not taught by a verified instructor, your paperwork can become a problem. If your certificate is too old, your paperwork can become a problem. If you used a class format that does not meet the new standard, your paperwork can become a problem. Here's a hypothetical example to explain this. Say you took a class a couple years back and kept the certificate in a drawer. You finally decide to apply now. Under the newer rules, that old certificate may not help you at all. That is the kind of trap that turns a simple application into a denial. But wait, there's something even more important. Colorado did not just change new applications, it changed renewals too. If you're finding this helpful, imagine what you'll learn in my next video about the 5 words that protect you when cops ask about your gun. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Fourth, Colorado renewal holders need to pay close attention now. A lot of people think renewal means quick paperwork, maybe a fee, maybe a photo, and you're done. Not anymore. Under the newer system, many renewal applicants must show competence again. That can mean a refresher class taught in person by a verified instructor. And that refresher has to include changes to gun laws, a written exam, and a live fire exercise. So if your permit is coming up for renewal, do not wait until the last second and assume you can slide by on your old class. Let me break this down for you. Even if you have been carrying for years, the state may still want recent proof that you can handle the gun safely. And understand the law as it exists now, not 5 years ago. Here's what most people get wrong. They prepare for the shooting part but forget the timing part. In some counties, the training certificate for a new applicant is only good for 1 year, and the refresher for renewal is only good for a much shorter window. So if you take the class too early, then wait too long, you may have to do it again. Fifth, Massachusetts just raised the bar for firearms license training. As of April 2nd, 2026, the state says updated safety training applies to new applicants. The newer curriculum includes suicide prevention, de-escalation, and use of force instruction. It also adds a live fire piece, although some details are still being finalized. And here's the part that shocked a lot of people. Military members are no longer simply exempt from the basic course, and hunter safety certificates no longer work as a substitute for a license to carry. So if you have been telling yourself, I already have training from somewhere else, stop and double check. Massachusetts is saying the exact kind of training matters now, not just the fact that you trained somewhere once, and for some people who got licensed after August 1st, 2024, but before this April 2026 change. The updated training can come back into the picture before the next renewal. That's a big deal. Sixth, Illinois added 2 rules that every permit holder should care about, even if they think they are the safe one in the house. Starting January 1st, 2026. Illinois requires safer storage when you know, or should know, that a minor, an at-risk person, or a prohibited person is likely to access it. That means the gun has to be secured in a locked container or otherwise made inaccessible. And Illinois also says if your firearm is lost or stolen, you have to report it within 72 hours after you learn that happened. Don't make this mistake. Do not assume that because the gun was stolen from you, the law will automatically see you as the victim and move on. In some states, the clock starts running the moment you know the gun is gone. If you wait, thinking it may turn up, that delay itself can become part of the problem. Now, quick legal note, this is educational information, not legal advice. Always consult an attorney for your specific situation. Here's a hypothetical example to explain why Illinois matters even outside Illinois. Imagine you visit family. You leave a firearm in a bag in a guest room, and there's a teenager in the house. You think, it's fine, I'm nearby. The law may see it differently if access was likely. And if that gun disappears, the next question becomes, when you knew it was missing and when you reported it. That is how one bad day becomes 2 separate legal headaches. Hey, 73% of people watching right now aren't subscribed. Don't be part of that group. Join the gun owners who get these updates first. Click subscribe. 7th, New Mexico quietly gave permit holders a different kind of warning. The state says its concealed handgun rules were amended and are in effect as of December 9th, 2025. And the state flat out says not to rely on materials older than that date. That may sound boring, but it is actually huge. Why? Because a lot of permit holders learned from screenshots, old blog posts, or classroom handouts that never got updated. New Mexico still says civilian concealed handgun licenses are valid for 4 years. But there is a refresher requirement at the 2-year mark. That means your permit can look current in your wallet while your training status is not where it needs to be. Let that sink in. A piece of plastic is not the full story. Compliance is the full story. 8th, Colorado has another big change coming on August 1st, 2026. And this one goes beyond your carry permit. The state passed a law on specified semi-automatic firearms. Mostly certain semi-automatic rifles, shotguns, and handguns with detachable magazines. Under that law, many future purchases or transfers will require training steps first. In plain English, your concealed carry permit does not automatically unlock this. You may need a separate firearms safety course path, and to even enroll in that course, you may need a sheriff-issued eligibility card. This is the part that shocked me. People hear, I already passed a permit class, and they assume that covers everything. It does not. Colorado is building a second lane here. One lane is your carry permit. Another lane is the training and approval path for certain semi-automatic firearm purchases. Mix those up, and you could walk into a gun shop thinking you are good, only to find out you're missing a whole extra step. 9th, Oregon is another state you need to watch closely because the rules there are moving, and the dates have shifted. Ballot Measure 114 created a permit-to-purchase system. Mandatory training, universal background checks for transfers, and restrictions on large capacity magazines. But then lawmakers moved the timeline again. The current Oregon legislative materials say the permit-to-purchase requirement is delayed to January 1st, 2028. And the large capacity magazine prohibition is delayed to January 1st, 2027, while court fights continue. Here's why that matters to you, even if you do not live in Oregon. Bad information spreads fast. One guy at the range says the law is already live. Another guy says it died in court forever. Both can be wrong. The truth is messier. The date's moved, the litigation is still alive, and the state is still shaping how the permit system would work, including longer decision times and higher possible fees. So if Oregon is on your travel list, your moving list, or your future home list, this is one you cannot learn from old rumors. 10th, California has another July 1st, 2026 change that sounds technical but can matter a lot. The state is expanding lost or stolen firearm reporting rules, so they also cover frames, receivers, and precursor parts. In simple terms, the law is looking beyond just a finished traditional firearm. If you own modular parts, build-related components, or anything in that gray area people love to argue about online, pay attention. Most people think, if it's not a complete gun, the rules are lighter. In some places, that assumption is getting weaker. California is also requiring annual training for licensed firearms dealers and employees who handle guns starting that same day. That one does not directly control your permit, but it could change how purchases, paperwork, and compliance checks feel at the counter. And when the dealer side changes, permit holders feel it too. So what's the big picture here? It's this. The most dangerous mistake is not bad intent. It is old information, old maps, old range talk, old class notes, old screenshots. That is what trips people up. This information could literally expire after January 2026. Subscribe now because the next video explains exactly what you need to do before the next deadline hits. Here's the takeaway. A permit is not a magic shield. It is just one piece of a moving legal puzzle. Where you carry, how you train, when you renew, how you store, when you report, and what state line you cross can all change the answer fast. So do yourself a favor. Recheck your state rules. Recheck any state you travel to. And subscribe right now if you want simple updates without all the legal word salad, because I'd rather warn you today than watch you learn this stuff after a stop, a search, or an arrest. And one last simple disclaimer. Laws change, court cases change, and local facts matter. So use this video to get informed, then talk to a qualified attorney or your state licensing authority before you make decisions with your freedom on the line.